good evening and welcome to round 3 of the CV19 Clio Cup from Oulton Park International. It's been a great season so far. We're expecting great things to happen during this evening's race. Just a little review of where we are at the moment. After 2 rounds we have Matt Parr leading the championship from Grant Motorsport, proving that he is better somewhere other than Castle Combe in the last 2 rounds, with 50 points with 2 clear, and that's a great start in the first lap with the cold rear tyres there for Scott Thompson of Pro-Am Racing. And in second place, Alex Neville Racing, 36 points. Scott Thompson Pro-Am, who we're following at the moment, on 30 points. Ed Whitehouse, the Bratmobile, 24 points in 4th place. Tom Starkey, BIG on your screen, of G&M Motorsport, 18 points in 5th. In 6th place, Rob Lewis, Club Racing UK, with 10 points. Sam Pearce, PEA because he's got a very small head and because his name is Pearce on the screen, for SP Motorsport and our series sponsor, with 8 points in 7th place. In 8th, Dan Underwood, Captain Underpants Racing, 6 points. In 9th, Kiwi Russ, he managed to make the grid in the 2nd round. Unfortunately, he didn't make the grid in the 1st round. He's 9th with 6 points. Andy Birtwhistle, the first member of the Northern Monkeys team, is in 10th place with 5 points. We're pretty sure that that's by default of everyone else not finishing rather than anything else. And lack of talent there. Dave Howlett of the Northern Monkeys didn't make the 1st round, did quite well in the 2nd round. 4 points. And there's a big crash in practice already. We can talk about the circuit and everything else as Kiwi Russ goes past. Dave Howlett in 11th place. Nick McLeod of Night Sky Watcher with 2 points in 12th. Graham Crowhurst unfortunately didn't make the grid in the 1st race after qualifying, but looked quite good in the 2nd race until he was unceremoniously taken out by the random driving that is Tom Starkey. And it's nice to make a change for him to be on the receiving end of that type of driving, because he's normally dishing it out. In 14th place, Ron Burnham of Green Plan Racing, and we know that there was a big announcement last week of the press release from Green Star Racing. In 15th place, Johnny Tempest, 850 Racing Team. He has unfortunately yet to open his account, and somehow Johnny has managed to do both races with Jason Goddard from Dubai Drives, who joins us from Dubai 3 hours in front, so he's doing well to stay up. It's 11 PM out there. Jason didn't make the race on the grid on the 1st race because he pushed the wrong buttons. He didn't do it last week because he felt a bit tired after doing a pub quiz the day before on the internet. And he still manages to have exactly the same points as Johnny, who's done all 4 sessions so far. So we're looking forward to today, and I'm not sure we'll be able to find out whether or not you guys can hear me. So if you are watching on our live stream, if you'd care to let me know. The introduction I gave him last week seems to have gone down, and I think it's something that's going to stick with him. So he's not the fast one, that's David. He's not the big dog, that's his dad. But he is the cheap one. He is free on Saturdays. He's Carl Graves, everyone. Welcome, Carl, to the commentary team. I'm very good, thank you. How's it looking for Graves Motorsport on this really busy outdoors motorsport season? Yes, so can everyone hear Carl? If anyone can let me know if they can actually hear Carl as well, as he's the broadcaster. No, I actually wasn't talking to the people on the chat. I know you can hear him. Oh, you're not? Okay, that's a shame. We'll try and work that one out. Is that me that's got to do that? I'm risking putting party audio on here. That would be dangerous, wouldn't it? I'm not sure how to do that, Cole, to be honest. So, coming back coming back to where we are. So there are a couple of front runners who we're expecting to look to do quite well. The first person to put in a 1:49.6 is Alex Neville, who has been saying he's been doing absolutely no practice whatsoever during the week. Seems to have come straight in with a 1:49. What you will notice is that the track is very narrow, and we've had a few practice races during the week with up to 6 or 7 drivers doing some short 5-lap races. As you've just seen there, and he's rolled over fairly unceremoniously. Jason from Dubai has gone completely upside down, and Sam Pearce, the P-head, has gone round the underside of him there. So Alex Neville, as he crosses the start-finish line, let's follow him just to see how he gets on with his lap. So this is a as we drop down a gear, as we come down into turn 2, which is a very fast left-hander. We come down here, we will change up to 5th gear, flat through here in 5th. And this is the problem going to be, down 3 gears, down into 2nd, on the power nice and early, getting some good drive out in 2nd gear. It looks like he may even be in 3rd gear there. Into the first of the 2 chicanes. And this is a very technical section. You can win and lose a lot of time. As we come down over hilltop now into the Hislop chicane, another heavy braking area. You can see it's very tight on the entry, not really an opportunity to make a move there. Nice and tidy on the inside. Little short shift up into 3rd, letting the car use its power and understeer all the way out to the outside as we go now up along over Clay Hill, past the water tower and into the fast right-hander that's Druids Corner. It's like a double apex right, probably changing down into it. Oh, and he's backed out of it. No, he hasn't. No, just taking it very cautiously on the way in. As he comes down to Lodge Corner, heavy braking, right-hander. He's taking it in 3rd gear there. Some of the other guys have been taking that in 2nd, so an interesting change of driving style there. And he crosses the line and doesn't improve on his time. As we follow Graham Crowhurst, who is currently 2nd, just 0.005 seconds off. Another person using a controller rather than a wheel. Has been struggling with that first right-hander, but he seems to have got that nice and tidy through there. Down the hill now into the sharp left-hander that is Cascades. Nice and tidy again. Graham has been showing good form during the week. His current championship position of 13th really doesn't reflect his ability in the car. As we know, Graham has made protest this week, as I didn't outline him as a champion online. He is a BMWCCR champion in his E46 M3, just in case anyone didn't know. We obviously apologise on behalf of the whole organisation for that small oversight. In brackets, we don't really care. As he comes nice and tidy, and he's pushed him wide. Yeah, he was obviously listening to the commentary there. The pressure of the on-board has got to him. Nice and steady through the 2nd chicane. Early on the gas, clips the apex nicely. Yeah, easy driving there. Coming into the fast double apex right-hander. Yes, controlling the slide really nicely there. Will he get a toe off the car in front? We will be talking a little bit about toes as we get further on into this race. Down into the final corner, heavy braking. Yes, he's using 2nd gear there. Nicely done, nice and patient to get on the gas. As he comes up and over the hill, is he going to improve on his lap time and take that pole position away from our current pole sitter, Alex Hill? No, he's not. Kiwi Russ has come in out of nowhere there with a 0.4 seconds behind. Very, very nicely observed, staying out of the way off the racing line there by the Origin red car. What's been interesting is during practice during the week, there's been a lot of people just dipping into the 1 minute 48 seconds brackets. This is a 10-minute practice session ahead of a qualifying session of 15 minutes. So this is literally for practice, just to give us a little indication of what's going to happen later on in the race. And just while we move back to a trackside view. Up on our race organiser Sam Pearce as he pulls over off the edge of the track. He's finished it. So at the moment the 10 minutes has elapsed. 1:49 from Alex, 1:49 from Graham, and the rest of the team, there's a few people in the 150s. Someone that we will be following later on as well, Johnny T, has slipped in there in 10th place. Bob the Bear, 16th place BEA, didn't actually get a clean lap in during the whole of that session by the look of it, and didn't register a time whatsoever. So we're just about to enter into the qualifying period, and I've just been handed, Carl, amazingly, a press release with Motorsport UK at the head of it, saying Green Star press release, which is an incredible development. We knew what happened last week, Tom Starkey taking the star out of Green Star, and we've now got a press release in response from Rob Burnham, the sole remaining member. He says, after the dust has settled from last week's race, we have had the time to consider the press release by Tom and his decision to leave Green Star for the bright lights and bigger motorhome that G&M Motorsports has to offer. We'd like to thank Tom for his efforts on the track. He's not a natural sportsman, but seems to have found his calling in a race car, developing his own unique, no-nonsense track etiquettes. He was a star by name and star by nature, but sadly our resources do not match his talent and ambition, and he heads to the front of the grid in search of glory. G&N and Sam Pearce Motorsport are a great partnership with well-prepped cars and lots of boys' toys to play on. They also have the biggest barbecue and the best stock fridge in the paddock, which is no reason whatsoever why Tom has taken frame into their fold. Tom is a racer and he drives the cars hard. He's not known for his mechanical sympathy. His new tag of the Ginger Wrecking Ball is one that is likely to stick, and we're sure that the G&M Parts Department, Sam Pearce Motorsport and anyone breaking an EP3 are spending this lockdown period getting ready for their extra workload following his arrival. Supertune Motorsport are still replacing parts on their BMW after his last outing at Silverstone on a track day. Tom's departure was only a real surprise to everyone else, and over the season it was clear that he wished for something faster. A suggestion that the Graves Motorsport 1 Series was enough, that we were to realise we were heading in a different direction. It was noticeable that Tom was yet to crash into Carl Graves during the CV19 Championship. I'm sure it won't be long before he asks for one of his famous test drives in one of their front-running cars. It's sadly true that the MSV Championship has evaded us, and even in true racer style, it's saddening to hear that Tom has taken little responsibility for this season's results. As a star driver, when the pressure mounted and championships were on the line, his absence from the final race weekend in consecutive years was disappointing. In the words of the famous Watford striker Troy Deeney, we hope he finds his cojones at G&M Motorsport and turns up when it matters. We'd like to take a short word on our departure from Supertune. It was not a decision which was taken lightly. We'd like to thank Supertune, particularly Colin, for bringing us into the motorsport, and we'd like to into the motorsport world. Changing team is always difficult unless you're Alex Neville, and the assistance Colin and his team have provided are much appreciated. We look forward to seeing them on the track soon. Tom, we wish you well in your new team colours at G&M Motorsport. They're a great team. It's been a pleasure to be associated with them over the last 2 years. Despite what seems an unceremonious exile to the opposite end of the paddock, we hope you wave and pass us through on the straights. Race hard and bring it home will always be our mantra. So it doesn't sound like Rob's too upset about the departure of Tom there. He's dealt with that very gracefully, and I'm sure there's more to come. Carl, so you've had a little drive around this track. What do you think are the key challenges this evening? Got it on the screen. Talk for a work it out. And Mr. G's gone for a roll. He's up in the air, and he's obviously had a reset. So let's follow Rob the Bear at the back end of the field there as we come into our first flying laps of this qualifying session. Rob has been practicing hard. We've actually got a headset now, so we can hear his reaction to drifting wide in that part of the chicane, and there may well be a track limits penalty to be applied there. We will see. And Carl's just let me know through his producer position through my earpiece here that Alex did get one up the arse from a lady last time at Oulton Park. So there's a story to tell about that. I mean, it's a fair play to the Grays Motorsport team. I think that they've gone to extreme lengths to make sure Alex stays with them beyond one season by cancelling the whole of this season, as we join a number of different people across this lap. Dave of the Northern Monkeys team is been very solid in practice all week. Seems to have picked up the pace a little bit. He's just a little bit off of the pace, but he's definitely going to be in the mix. And it is business as usual at the front end. It is Matt Parr of previous two winners, winner of the previous two rounds, as he drifts the car nicely through there, who's just set a 150.1. So we know that the ultimate pace is potentially half a second up on this, but and Graham's just gone in with a 150.1 at the front of the grid there. As we go to our second place now, there, placeman and leader of the championship, Matt Parr, driving with the controller, closely followed by Scott Thompson just behind him, and they had a great race last week at Silverstone. The lights are on. He's trying to put off the guy in front, or is he just trying to alert him of his presence as he comes down now into the second chicane? Nicely turns the car in, hits the apex using all the width back up into third gear here, and the big long stride up the hill, letting these Clios, which are twitchy at the rear end by all accounts, into fifth, up into the double apex right-hander, down into fourth. Yeah, keeps it nice and tidy through there, trying to improve on his 150.3. There are a few people that might not get a lap because they do have very stringent track limits, and there is a big opportunity for people not to qualify. So put in a legitimate qualifying time. Sometimes you just have to put a banker in, not get stuck in the traffic. As you've seen there, that would have pushed him wide, and there's a big problem. Always managed to avoid that. That was very close indeed. So great piece of driving there by our provisional pole position man. As we now follow Graham in second place, chasing him down. He's had good form all week. Graham, the champion of BMW CCR. Go on board now as he goes through that first right-hander. Down the hill, dip down into fourth, turns it in nice and early, on the power, nice and early. Using all of the width, may incur a penalty there. So let's just pop in to see Scott Thompson of the Pro-Am Racing team, who's in P3 at the moment, just 0.8 seconds off our provisional pole sitter, Matt Parr, who gave us great entertainment. Very nicely done there by Ed on the left, allowing him space to come through. Scott now comes up. And Mr. G, all the way from Dubai, has slotted into 10th position. He may be 7 seconds off provisional pole, which actually, given the fact he's done nothing this week whatsoever other than drink alcohol and do quizzes on Zoom, that he's actually very tardily running around this. It's well past his bedtime. He should have been in bed at least 2 hours ago. He's been allowed back out of the garage and into the house, nice and steady through there. Slow and steady wins a race sometimes. 7 minutes of this qualifying session remaining as he turns in. There's a little bit of time to be gained on the way in there, with a little bit more practice, but what he has done is managed to get a time in, nice and steady, keeping it all clean. And there's someone coming up behind him. Who's that? Is that Rob there? A bit of practice phases. Push Jason wide there. Could be a bit of trouble. No, he's going wide. Yes, he's gone wide. He's held it. Yeah, very similar to an incident in a green Seat in the Nürburgring a few years ago, but we won't talk about that. As we go back to the front of the field now, back on board with Graham Crowhurst, the champion himself, as he comes down the hill into this left-hander, hacksawing away on the controller. He definitely needs to invest in a steering wheel, but he's left it a bit late and all the prices have tripled. Just 0.3 off of our provisional leader at the moment. Dave is doing a great lap here. He's currently in 4th place, just 0.8 seconds off of the provisional pole, 1:49.8. So we are dipping into the 1:49s now. Nicely done through there, using all the track. These Clios do slide around a bit. They've got a very twitchy rear end. Johnny T, that's a good time to join Johnny T. Looks like he's had a bit of a problem at the second hairpin there. Sam Pearce now 5 seconds off the lead, so he must be doing some dirty laps. He has got pace in the car, so let's see how he gets on this lap. Here's the tricky part, the first chicane. What we are hearing, a bit of feedback from the drivers, is that it's a busy track and they're not managing to get clean laps, and also there is no give at all on this circuit. There are track limits penalties are going to it, so we are expecting potentially some tyre penalties in the race. Continued abuse of track limits will lead to drive-through penalty potentially, and even with a drive-through penalty, if you do not take the advice of the race director, which we will see on our screen, then there is the potential of being disqualified. So getting clean laps in is going to be really paramount. As we've just seen there are a lot of people going off. This is a completely different circuit to what we experienced last week at Silverstone National. Big, fast, flowing and open. Just a few corners to get to grips with. This is completely the polar opposite, and probably one of the biggest challenges on the CV19 calendar by the look of it, because next week we go to Brands Indy, a technical but similar track to... No, it's not. And it's just been pointed out to me that Rob, who has been showing some great times and pace in free practice, Rob Lewis from Club Racing UK, has not actually yet to register time, as well as Dan. Although, to be fair, it wasn't expected that Dan would register, because he was on for 3 hours yesterday and he didn't manage to get a clean lap in the whole of that session. So he's really under the pressure to put something in. Back, and Ed TOT, Ed Whitehouse, the university student, comes into the last corner. He's actually dipped into provisional pole, and it's a surprise because he hasn't drafted anyone either. It seems to be a legitimate that time. We know he's been practicing all week with track limits off. So our provisional pole sitter now just misses the apex but holds on to it. And there's a big crash up in front there, cars rolling. This could be a very untidy race if this is anything that we're expecting to go by in the race. And our pole sitter has ignored all of that, made his way through the carnage nice and calmly as he comes down now into probably the most technical part of the track. So you need some brave pills on the way in here, flat out in 5th, just clips the apex nicely. Heavy braking zone down into 2nd gear seems to be the preferred route by the quicker guys. Tucks it in, and in real life this is a heavily cambered corner. You don't quite pick it up from the camera angle. obstacles here, which it helps drive him on the way out as he comes down into the first of the two technical chicanes, and this seems to be where people are nicely done. Oh no, he's just clipped the barrier there, and it's stopped him dead in his track. So our championship leader now, Matt, is in second place, and Rob Lewis from Club Racing UK, ROB, on your screen in the top left-hand corner, is yet to set a time. So hopefully he's got 1 minute 56 seconds to get across the start-finish line, and he is jumping around a little bit. I might get travel sick following him. It's probably because his internet's quite weak. Andy Birtwistle, so it is true, Andy Birtwistle for the third week in a row has been allowed by Natalia to come out. He's not allowed out, but he's allowed out for the third week running. It's a real shame there. Andy got a text message from his other bit on the side this week, who got him the job at Porsche, saying, look, I'm really sorry, but you know, these restrictions where you haven't been able to come and see me for the last 3 weeks has put a toll on our relationship, and you're going to have to go back to your girlfriend. And it seems to have put him off that comment, because he's ended up in the barriers. And Night Sky Watcher here, so it's pretty tight at the front. Matt Parr just 0.4 seconds behind Ed Whitehouse. There are 30 seconds to go, so it does look like he's going to do it. Rob has got a lap time in as 2:17, 27 seconds off the pace. That really is not reflective of his ultimate lap time. We know he's consistently in the 1:49s, but he has put a banker in. We never know, he may make a late dash whether or not he can get across the line. Dan Underwood, R32 there, yet to do it. So Matt's decided now he's going to park it up in the garage. Graham Crowhurst in third. In the bottom right hand side of the screen there, we can see Kiwi Russ has had multiple laps invalidated for track limits, but he still managed to just be 1 second off the lead in fourth position. As he comes down now to complete his lap, and the qualifying session's complete, so there will be no new laps. As Russ runs right there, he won't get another lap in, so he will be finishing in fourth position. And our provisional pole man is our actual pole man now, so Ed Whitehouse with a 1:49.3, followed by Matt Parr, our championship leader, just half a second behind in second. Graham Crowhurst 0.7. You can, if you're going to finish this lap. Graham comes flying into the pits, practicing for that drive-through penalty that he's inevitably going to get probably during the race. And the Pro-Am Clio of Scott Thompson there in fifth place comes across just 1.1 seconds off the ultimate pole, and that's probably his unfair reflection on his racing ability, because he did have a very tight race, having not necessarily qualified in pole position in the last round. Dave in P7, just as Sam Pearce just pops in fifth place there with a 1.12, just at the last knock-ins. Gets a clean lap at the end. It was a very busy track session, very similar to something like you'd see in the Trackday Trophy or the Trackday Championship run by MSV that a few of these guys run in. We will run through what people are racing. Most of the people on your screen are actually semi-pro or amateur racers. So Matt Parr is Castle Combe champion, Alex Neville Pro-Am Mini champion, Scott Thompson is a podium position guy and regular front runner in both MSV Trackday Trophy and Trackday Championship. Ed Whitehouse has done absolutely no racing whatsoever, but he is a student, so he will be good at a computer game. Tom Starkey of G&M Motorsport is a multiple Class D winner in the Green Star Racing Fiesta in both MSV Trackday Championship and Trackday Trophy, including a fantastic victory in the underdog Puma a few years ago on the Brands GP at their first attempt. That was the guys behind Club Racing UK, which if you're not subscribed to it on Facebook, please sign up as soon as you can. Those guys are announcing today that HRX Motorsport are supporting and sponsoring their in-club e-gaming championship, which is just about to get underway. So well done to Rob and Nick and Stefan and the rest of the guys there at Club Racing UK for getting that off the ground. Sam Pearce of SP Motorsport is racing and was in fact due to do his first race today at Donington. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to undertake that because of the lockdown, so we're looking forward to him getting the real opportunity. Having prepared the cars to such a great standard for the last couple of years, it would have been great to see him in the driving seat. I'm sure we will do soon. Dan Underwood, Captain Underpants Racing, when his car's actually working and he's not having issues with it, he always regularly drives an R32 or brisk pace around many things. So the grid is forming up for the race, the main event, as we are getting ready now. 16 enthusiastic Clios. It could be very tight at the start of this race as we head now away. And it's a good start in third position there from Graham Crowhurst. He gets away really well indeed. Let's see how he approaches down into the first corner. So Ed keeps his position with Matt in second place, and there is some issues at the back of the grid there as we come down the hill now. Nice and tidy for our front runners. Sam Pearce has had a great start, jumped up into and our lead man's gone wide on cold, and there's a big opportunity. There are some great avoiding. Oh, and a big crash. Our pole man has gone up in the air, and not unexpectedly, there are a few issues at the back of the grid. And Matt, our championship leader, locks up a front right on the way in. And he seems to have got away at the front, so if he keeps it neat and tidy, this is the place to be. As we follow now with second position main Graham Crowhurst, who's chasing him down. On board now with Graham Crowhurst in second place, chasing down our leader at the front, our championship leader. So we know Graham has shown great form the whole of this season. Hopefully going to get a good finish. It's Russell Harding of GNM Motorsport there, Kiwi Russ, KRW up in your right hand side. And Graham goes fairly wide there through the last double right hander, allowing us to take a little bit of time out of him as we come down into the final right hander. Heavy braking zone, down 3 gears. Nicely on the gas there from Russell. He is using all the track on the exit. In full position, Sam Pearce is looking at what's going on up ahead. Could you see the battle there? As we follow Sam Pearce down the hill. And Rob Lewis, after a very slow start in the qualifying session, has really got his act together and has jumped up into 5th place. Big Tom Starkey in the GNM Motorsport red, black and white. And there's a problem there for Tom. Good evening to Jeff if you are watching the stream. We will be talking about what you're supposed to do with ginger children. And we all know that if you do have a ginger baby, you're supposed to put it in the skip and start again, which you didn't do with Tom. We want to know why. But obviously you love him now. And he's gone wide, and there seems to be some criticism from the drivers. And Rob Lewis has also gone off. Which means that Johnny T, who has yet to register a point, is in 7th place and doing a sterling job there. His smoking jacket's on, his pipes on, he's opened up the little slider on the driver's window to let out the smoke from his fire, and he's crashed and he's decided to cut the final chicane there in fairly good form. We'll see what's going on. There is a lot of activity, very difficult to keep up. Our 2nd place championship, 3rd place in the championship man. The Pro-Am racing car, Scott Thompson is currently at 8th. And our 2nd place championship runner now, Alex Neville, has found himself down in 10th place after all of that stuff going on at the start, chasing down Rob, and these two really are going at it now. Dan somehow manages to find himself in 11th place, but we know it's a long way to go. The 20-minute race, there are 16 minutes to go, and whether or not he can keep it on the straight and narrow for that is highly debatable. Night Sky Watcher here in 12th position. Rob the Bear is being pressured by our pole position man, who's recovered after that massive spin at the start. He's going up this way, he's letting him pass. It's very gentlemanly He's acknowledged him there. He's got a fantastic colour scheme. Hopefully the flames on the car will be because of his pace rather than just because they're painted on. Andy Birtwistle down in 15th place. This is not a surprise. He's a massive liability. I'm sure he would have been involved in some sort of crash at some point. And our international entrant, Jason Goddard there, Mr. G, in 16th place on a 108. So who do we want to find? And this is fantastic news. We are looking now at Johnny T in 6th place. Now he is under pressure from a couple of guys behind, but he is the consummate professional. He's cool, calm, collected, and that comes from all those years and years and years and years and years of experience that he has. He pushes it a bit wide. He's taken out the bollard. I don't know if he's going to get a track limits penalty for that. But he is chasing down the man in front of him, just 8 seconds ahead, with Big Tom Starkey following him behind, and Alex Neville, our championship second position, as we go up to the front just to see how Matt's getting on. And he is in clear air at the moment, but Graham is trying to chase him down. He has closed that gap, so this is a role play of exactly what happened last week, where Matt was under tremendous pressure from Scott Thompson, but this time it is the BMW Car Club M2 champion in his E46 M3, and he's just locked up a little bit on the way in. He's pushed him a bit wide, and that's given Kiwi Russ a bit of a run on him on the way down there, so he is nose to tail. It will be interesting to see whether or not Russ has got the patience, or whether he's going to try and stick something on him. Let's have a look on board now, as we are nose to tail in the two Clios on board with Kiwi Russ. Seems to have just drifted wide there. He's lost the back, and he's gone under the pressure. He has gone under the pressure of the onboard camera, and he's spinning around, and he's caused a big problem there for Sam Pearce, our full position man. So the pair of them are sorting that out. Back to the front of the grid, front of the race now, where Graham Crowhurst has really clamped down on Matt Parr, our championship. It'll be interesting to see whether Matt's going to outright push this and continue to race really hard, or whether he's going to protect his championship and concede the place and let Graham get up the road. I know Graham is hungry for a win. He'll take any win in any form. This is really exciting stuff now as they come down. He's okay during these parts of the circuit. It's just the start-finish line where other people seem to have issues with him, particularly towards the end of the race. Evening, Colin, Cosworth Racer. How are we, sir? Mr. Baz, I'm not sure if it's your internet or mine. My live stream seems to be fairly solid, but we do know that these servers are under tremendous pressure at the moment, because I don't think they were due to take all of that. So could be you, could be me, mate. Graham's going to take the more traditional line around the outside there. Will really get better drive. It's forced our lead position man to go defensive on the way into the last corner. Nose to tail, he's flashing him, seeing whether he can put him off. A little bit more braking on the way in there, but maybe a better cleaner on the exit. And he's gone wide, and there is a back marker up in front, so this will be very interesting. Mr. Goddard up there in 16th place, and he's gone to the inside, and Graham's gone around the outside, and he's held, and that is a marvellous move around the outside there. And is he going to get a draft from Mr. G? So Mr. G in Dubai, I would suggest you move to the left and brake and get out of the way and let these guys around the outside, but no, he's sticking right in the middle of the racing lane, and he's gone to the inside, and Graham's pushing him out, and he's taken him out. The back marker has taken him out and potentially stuffed his race there, and Matt showed his experience as the CSCC champion, and Russ has come back through on the inside as well. So Kiwi Russ has jumped into second place. This could be his first podium of the series. Graham will not be happy with that, and he now knows exactly what it's like to be on the receiving end of his dirty tactics. That was a great time and opportunity. So 2 weeks running, what we have discovered is that our series leader and championship leader has managed to hold his nerve at the front of the field, while the people in P2, last week Scott Thompson of Pro-Am, this week it was Graham Crowhurst of GC Racing, who couldn't hold it there. A little bit of back marker play there. We knew this was a possibility on this circuit. It is very we knew it was a possibility on this circuit. for us, Johnny T still in 6th place, holding off our series number 2 position man, Alex Neville, the Super Tune Judas. And is he going to race with Graves next year? I mean, it could be a record if he decides to change teams 3 years in a row, having not even run a race with the Graves Motorsport team. That would be quite a feat to do. Doesn't look like there's a lot different here, so Johnny is holding his own. Alex is normally the quicker here. He's outright lap pace. He's probably 1 or 2 seconds quicker. And there he is again, Mr. G in the green Petronas green with yellow flash car. So is there going to be an issue with Mr. G again? As Johnny T's gone wide at that corner as Alex gets a run on him. Up to the start-finish straight, could be interesting. Is he going to come through on the inside as they come up to turn 1? Let's see whether or not it's going to be the last of the late break. And Johnny T just backs out of it, lets Alex go, gets the better drive through the corner, and Alex doesn't make a mistake, so he's back on track. Graham tries to recover that time, just 7 seconds off the lead, 2 seconds behind our second place man, Kiwi Russ, as our leader goes around, and he's doing a good job of using his lights to flash the people behind him. And Dave of the Northern Monkey team, and someone's off there at the Shell hairpin, lost it on the way in. It's probably Dan. It's confirmed it is Dan. I'm not surprised there, as Dave and I had some sessions in the week, and he's obviously got used to this close stuff. So 5th place for Dave at the moment, and our 2nd place championship man Alex Neville now really coming into his own, starting to get back into it, making his way through the backfield, the back markers there. Very, very complicated. Johnny T holding on to 7th position with Scott in the Pro-Am racing team. So let's follow this battle for a little while now. Scott, who's a seasoned racer in a Clio, and Johnny's a little bit heavier on the brakes there, and Scott is right up behind him, and he's trying to get him on the way out of the corner there. Johnny's got the more defensive racing line, but he has got the racing line. There's they coming up the hill now. Could be interesting. There's a back marker. Is that going to come into it as they are evenly matched, these two cars? A little bit of contact there, just to give himself a little bit of a nudge. And he takes that position. Scott moves in front there into 7th position. And our pole sitting man is down in 10th place, 47 seconds off the lead after that really tricky start. As we follow on board with Tom Starkey, just to see how he's getting on. Rob the Bear there, and Rob the Bear has gone into the barriers. Oh, there's a surprise. Rob's in the gravel. A lot of gravel. He's in the gravel. We expected it. It has taken 3 rounds, but we know he's got a lot of previous. He just can't help it. He is a gravel magnet. He made that announcement earlier in this evening, but he loves the gravel. He's probably on first name times with the marshals at that corner as well. As we go on board with Jason, Mr. G from Dubai Drives. He's the only person in this field who regularly drives a left-hand drive car, so you would expect him to be in a great position, and he is quite a few seconds ahead there of R32 Dan. Oh, and Dan's going wide. He's losing it again, is he? Yeah, he is. He's hit the barrier, and he's managed somehow to semi-get away with that. I don't really know how to explain that, to be fair. I'll just let the images speak for themselves. Kiwi Russ 5 seconds off of our lead position man now, so Matt has got some clear distance in front. He hasn't made any mistakes in previous rounds, and I don't think he's about to do it now, but it is very close. So Graham 3 seconds behind Kiwi Russ. Seven minutes left, yes. Sam Pearce in 4th place, who unfortunately his computer or his Xbox crashed last week, leaving him right in the middle of the last corner. As he comes out and follows Andy Birtwistle, who is moving to the right hand side and letting him through, but we do know he's a massive liability. As Rob the Bear's come off, and there's going to be some problems here with Rob going slowly and Sam catching up. Is he going to let? He's not really letting him pass in any particular notch, and he's got wide there, so that's probably given him the opportunity to get past. As Dave Howlett now, our 5th place man, is 4 seconds ahead of Alex Neville, who's got a little bit of ground to make up. I'm not sure whether 6 minutes is enough to make up that amount of time. Scott, our championship P3 man, is currently down in 7th place, so Johnny T hanging on really well. And Rob, just that little red there, has got a penalty of some description, which is what that red marker denotes next to his number. Johnny T holding his position in 8th place. Our pole position man is in fresh air down in 10th. Night Sky Watcher there in 11th place. And just a little bit of fresh air there. So Big Tom Starkey, for some reason we expect him to be up the front, but he's down in 12th place, which will be a massive disappointment to Jeff. And Jeff, I really do recommend that you get on the phone to him this week and have a strong word with him about his performance, because this is really not what we expected. He's made that big move to the G&M Motorsport outfit. Great things were expected of him, and this is just not good enough as far as G&M are concerned. And I'm sure that Ian Gay, the team principal, the man with the red shirt, will be having words with Tom during the week and saying to him, this is just totally unacceptable, and don't darken our motorhome doorstep unless you're prepared to pull your finger out and get up the front of the field. This is not going to go down well. Andy, we're going to skip through because he's really boring to watch. This is Rob the Bear. He's good for some. He's actually being chased down by Mr. G, just 1 second ahead. So Mr. G, having had all sorts of challenges at the start there, is actually chasing down, and he's gone wide as the pressure's got, and he's crashed straight into the wall. It is 10 to 12 in Dubai. His body clock's all over the place. He's normally at least 15 bottles of wine in, or at least Amanda would be by this time this evening. If she's watching from the upper room, thank you for letting him back in the lounge. It'd be great to see you at some point. Maybe you could. And Dan's off again. Dan is off again, and he's all over the place, but he's managed to gather it up. He's had so much experience being on the grass. It's an amazing position for him to be in. Kiwi Russ, 2nd position as we speak on the track. Got a little bit of fresh air. Graham doesn't seem to be closing him down. 4 minutes of this race to go, and actually we were expecting far more incidents, but for whatever reason they have spread themselves out as we jump to our race leading man, our championship leading man, Matt, who has been consummate in every round so far. Just 3 minutes 50 seconds for Matt to see out at the front of the field. I have been asked by other members of his team to say that he is fast at other circuits, not just Castle Combe, and so far online that has proven to be the case. He is a champion at Combe, and is so far has been delivering a championship leading and potentially a championship winning drive in this, the 3rd of many rounds to come, depending on how long we actually have the lockdown for. Russ still holding his own there from Graham, who's in 3rd place. Sam Pearce only 7 seconds behind him. This is a decent round for him. Hopefully his Xbox doesn't boot him off in the last couple of minutes. He's done everything he can to make sure that he will finish this race in an appropriate way. And 2nd place now, championship man down in 5th. Alex Neville is being harassed. So this is the only real battle on the track where the two drivers are within a point of 1 second of each other. And this is our championship 2nd man, Alex Neville, in the white, black and yellow car. And behind him is Scott Thompson of the Pro-Am Racing Team. And if you haven't seen it, their website is now up and running, Pro-Am, for various parts. It's well worth checking out. And this is a familiar position because we saw these two battling out at the last sectors of the previous round, except this time it's the other way round. It is Scott Thompson who's applying the pressure to Alex. So Scott, who races a 182 Clio in the MSV Championship against the Mini Am champion, who's recently joined the Graves Motorsport team in Pro-Am for this season, potentially next season as well, as it looks at the moment. And he's closed up there very nicely on the way out. These cars are evenly matched as we follow them down now into one of the two heavy areas of braking, and this is where you can make or lose time. And it does seem that Scott's got a better run out of there, and is he going to be able to make a move down to here? I'm not so sure, because he's on the outside. It's going to be very tricky to see whether or not he can. They go side by side now along the straight into the 2nd chicane, and he is locked up on the way in. Alex, a little bit more difficult control there, doesn't seem, but he's held the position nicely. Good piece of driving there. And Scott seems to have just dropped off a tiny bit as they move up the hill into the double apex fast right-hander that is Druids, as they've gone up through Clay Hill into Druids, the double right-hander. Not to be confused with the Druids at Brands Hatch, which is a slow hairpin. As they both come through there nice and cleanly, Scott just lost a little bit of time off the back of Alex there. As they come down into the final corner, Lodge corner, and up and over Deer Leap. across the start-finish line. So 1 minute remaining, everyone. Our leader at the moment, this is the only on-track battle that we had, so our leader at the moment is clear by 4.5 seconds. He should, in theory, if he can get through this lap nice and clean, lead on to his third consecutive win and lead the championship even further, with Kiwi Russ, who's had a mixed start to the series so far, in second place, holding it together. Graham's probably just a little bit too far away to make up the distance, but he has been tracking him down. So we go back now to the only real battle that is on track, our second and third in the championship. And Scott's getting very loose round the left-hander there as he's come down the hill into the Shell Oil hairpin. And he makes up a lot of time once again. Alex, and is he going to go up the inside now? He hasn't quite got the line into the chicane. They go side by side. There is some contact there. Alex does give him the respect, and Scott's given him a bit more as they come. It's going to be very tricky there, making contact. And it is Scott who comes off better out of that battle, and he's sent Alex Neville in 6th place into the barriers, onto the grass. And actually it's pushed him down the field. So different to last week. Scott has done a marvellous move there. It's fair but firm racing. I think he probably was just in front. So that's a great piece of driving there by Scott Thompson to take 5th place. And this may impact on the championship. We'll have to see how the points tot up later and once all the penalties are taken into account. But as we move now and follow our race winner, Matt Parr, who takes his 3rd consecutive win. A great performance, a consummate performance. Kiwi Russ comes across in 2nd place, so podium for Russ. Really well done, congratulations to Russ. Graham in 3rd place. It was looking so promising until he had a bit of an issue battling for the lead with one of our back markers. Sam Pearce in 4th place has come across. Scott, who we followed, is just about to come across the line in 5th place and to possibly jump into 2nd in the championship. Dave has done a great race in 6th and been very consistent throughout, and this is the man that we want to see. It's Johnny T, scoring his first points of the season as he wiggles across the start-finish line, acknowledges both of his fans in the pit lane. Well done, Johnny T. And Alex Neville. Rob Lewis, who was comes up to finish off the race, and he's actually up on his best lap times. This is one of his best lap times so far. I don't think that Night Sky Watcher behind him is going to be able to pick him up as we come down. As he comes into the final right hander, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he's in the right gear as he drags himself up the hill now. So Big Tom Starkey crossing the line in 11th position, just out of the points, I believe. It's only points for the top 10. Mr. G is down in 13th, so he's going to try and get this done. So the race is complete. Is he finishing his lap time? Dan is down in 14th place, and Rob the Bear in 15th place. So that will affect our standings for this championship. And congratulations once again to our race winner for the 3rd consecutive CV19 Clio Cup, brought to you by SP Motorsport, Matt Parr, who ran from start to finish at the front. Kiwi Russ doing a fantastic job as well, bringing it home for his first podium of the series. Graham unfortunately didn't put a wheel wrong throughout the whole of the race other than dealing with that one issue, and he still managed to get a podium, so well done to him. Sam Pearce, our series sponsor and originator, thanks for organising yet again, Sam, in 4th position, just taking some of the pressure off himself. I'm sure that trophy is not very far away. Scott, who we saw there, doing a great job to hang on to 5th place with some genuine wheel-to-wheel and battling with Alex Neville. Dave in 6th. Johnny T, congratulations and welcome to the points table. Johnny T in 7th place. All that practice is paying off. Our 2nd place, maybe 3rd place in the championship man now. Alex Neville is in 8th. Rob Lewis came home in 9th. And our pole position man had a few issues early in the track, finishing in 10th place. As we now look after 3 rounds at the championship standings, and we see how this evening's racing has impacted
on the overall positions. In first place, with a perfect score of 3 wins out of 3 races with 75 points, it's Matt Parr of the Grant Motorsport team leading the way. In second place, Alex Neville with 40 points, level now with Scott of Pro-Am Racing with 40 points in third. Ed, our pole sitter today, with 25 points in fourth. In fifth, Russell Harding of Kiwi Racing, 24 points. In sixth, Sam Pearce of Sam Pearce Motorsport of 20 points. In seventh, Big Tom Starkey of G&M Motorsport with 18 points. In eighth, Graham Crowhurst with 17 points. In ninth, Dave of the Northern Monkeys with 12 points. And rounding out our top 10 after 3 rounds, Robert Lewis of Club Racing UK, also on 12 points.